This is a requested video, and that is the QSC CP8 versus the new Everse 8. It's going to be a battle. That's why I took out my boxing gloves. Now you know how tall I am. Those boxing gloves fit pretty well. There's a trophy in the middle, one speaker. Hopefully we'll take that home, the cash prize. This is like Ali versus Fraser, Chevy versus Ford. This is going to be a good one. Okay, let's talk about it. The challenger on the left, QSC CP8, $500. If you've watched my past videos, and if you're interested, you should go back and watch some of them. You'll get more information about these two speakers. The CP8, in my opinion, is the budget champion of the PA world. What you're getting for $499, I guess we'll round it up to $500, is really incredible, and we'll talk about it. The challenger on the right is the new for 2022, or was it 2023? I'm not sure. Is the Everse 8. EV has been in the game for a long time, but they've never come out with something portable, battery-powered. Of course, Bose started the whole journey with the S1 Pro. I have that speaker, and you can go back and watch videos about that. So these speakers are very different. Some people might say apples to oranges. You can't do it. Okay, well, I'm going to break the rules. But if it really offends you, this might be the time to stop watching. Hope you can tune into some of my past videos or future videos. Okay, so why are they apples and oranges? Well, the QSC CP8 is strictly AC powered, and that changes everything. The Everse 8, in the same vein as the Bose S1 Pro, JBL Compact, Mackie Thump Go, is internal battery powered. So, two very different usages. That's why I keep both. But this video is about the person with maybe $750 in their pocket, because that's how much the EV costs. Or maybe you're saying, gee, I really don't want to spend more than $500, which is the QSC, to help them make a decision. So that's why I make these videos, kind of for beginners, people who are just getting into the PA world. I have a lot of speakers, and to tell you the truth, some of them sit idle. Some of them, I enjoyed them while I bought them. I tested them. I used them to a certain extent, but now they just be kind of in storage. I don't really like selling my gear because I know you can only get about 50%, but they don't get much usage. So a lot of people will not buy both. They only can buy one. So this video hopefully will help you decide. So let's go to the history. The QSC CP8 is the old school speaker. It's been out since 2009. Do the math, 2023, 14 years ago. Actually, the CP8 wasn't in 2009. That was the original K8. But the technology hasn't changed much at all. So we're going to call it 2009. And I just found out recently, that's the beauty of Google, and that is I found out the K series, the K stands for 1,000 watts. I never knew that. Makes sense, doesn't it? So the CP8 has the same amplifier as the original K series before it went to the K8.2, which went to 2,000 watts. This has the 1,000 watt amp, which in itself is pretty incredible. Again, people will say, that's not true. Don't listen to the specs. It's 500 watts, maybe, but who knows? I don't go by watts anyhow, and most people will recommend that you go by Max SPL. So the EV, on the other hand, is the newcomer on the block, the newest technology, 2022, 2023. So it has all the bells and whistles that you can possibly squeeze into a little box. Pretty incredible technology. And since we're talking about technology, there is my copy of the Beatles 1970, 67 to 1970 in record LP form. So it kind of shows you how long I've been playing the game of audiophile game. And then the next to it is the CD. That was amazing technology that I still have a lot of CD collection that I'm not going to give up. And then, of course, everything is going to streaming and downloading now. So technology marches on. The question of this video is, at the end, do you want the latest technology all stuffed into a one-box solution? Or do you want some of the advantages of the old school? And let's talk about it. Okay, let's talk about an important consideration for myself, and that is size/weight. The EV is 17 pounds. Not much of a workout. You can carry one in each hand. Really nice. Of course, if you're looking for the lightest out there, and that's the Bose S1 Pro at 15 pounds, but that's another story. The heavyweight here is the QSC at 21 pounds. So hopefully that's not going to make your buying decision, but someone with physical issues might consider that. But as far as form factor, they're really pretty much the same size. Very, very close. Talking about weight, I have a speaker that I bought a number of years ago for my electronic drum setup, and that is the QSC KW122. They still make it, and surprisingly enough, it still has the same amp, 1000 watts, but in a much larger wooden cabinet. Anyway, that speaker is 51 pounds. So when you go from 51 pounds to 21 pounds and get almost the same performance, of course, nothing near it in reality, but unfortunately that speaker doesn't leave the house much because it's really a monster. But when you're talking about electronic drums, it was a wonderful purchase that I still love. I forgot to mention something important, and that is the fact that today is kind of just an introduction of comparing these two speakers. There'll be no sound test. I know some people get upset. They watch the whole video and then they give me a comment, oh, where's the sound test and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, a lot of reviewers don't even do sound tests because they feel you can't really get a good representation from YouTube speakers that you're playing it back on. I think you can get some representation when the difference is huge, but in this case, we'll talk about that. There'll be no sound test today. But really the best thing you can do, and I know it's not easy, and that is to purchase both speakers, because a lot of companies, Guitar Center, Sweetwater, they have a very good return policy. And sometimes they encourage you to do that. You purchase both, you take them home, you use them both, and then you return the one that doesn't meet your needs. And that's my recommendation, but a lot of people won't do that because it is a hassle. Let's look at the back of these speakers. Here's the difference. Okay, so old school CP8. You have your physical controls, your gain on channel 1, channel 2. You're in a gig situation or it's dark and you want to boost the volume. You can do it within a half a second. On the other hand, you go to the Everse 8. It's an app control. Everything is on the app, no physical controls. So you have to press the button. You have to go to the window or the that you're looking for. It's pretty quick on the EV. The app is well laid out, but nothing like physical controls. Just like a digital mixer compared to sliders. Some people want to go with the old school method. Talking about the app is incredible on the EV. It's, in my opinion, the best on the market. Just to give you an idea, the JBL Compact Mark II, which I also own, they're going through firmware upgrades. They're trying to improve the app. And I wrote on the JBL website, you guys need to look at the EV app. It is so simple and efficient. I just love it. On the other hand, QSC, from all those years ago, 2009, there was no app, and there still isn't. No app at all. No Bluetooth. People are saying, what? No Bluetooth? Forget that speaker. I need Bluetooth. So again, this comparison is really what you need as a listener or a musician. You determine that, not me. I'm just going to give you the plus and minuses of both speakers, and then you spend your money the way you need to. But anyway, the EV has excellent Bluetooth 5.0. I believe it goes like 30 feet or something. I never tested it, but it's wonderful. The QSC, there is no Bluetooth. So that is a big factor. Another downside for the QSCs, for musicians, there is no reverb, none. It's more of a front of the house speaker, traditional speaker. Maybe it's not tailored to your acoustic guitarist, vocalist, but it's very popular for that group, but there is no reverb. On the other hand, if you check my other video about the EV, there's all kinds of EQ. I forgot how many reverbs they have. It's like 13 or 15. It's amazing. So again, if you're willing to put in the time and tweak it, the EV really has a lot of options there. Talking about options, the EV has charging ability. You can charge your phone. It has a 12 volt out where you can charge, I guess, pedals. Musicians that use pedals really think that's a great feature. I'm thinking maybe you can charge a little mixer that I own. That might be something I might buy, is the cable that goes with it. Maybe they should have provided that cable, but that's asking a lot. And going back to the QSC, there is no charging ability, no USB out. So again, old school versus new. One thing they have in common, looking at the back, they both have XLR out. The QSC does have some DSP control. It has default out, sub, using a sub. And again, when you try to do that with the EV, you have to go through your screen and the menus. A little slower, but once you set up a sub, you don't really touch it much, right? One of the features I really think is great for the EV, and that is the fact that it has a clip light on the front. The QSC and most speakers have clip lights on the back, but I know when I'm performing, I'm not staring at the back of my speaker, but the EV from a distance, especially since you're using Bluetooth control, you can be controlling everything from across the venue, tweaking the volume, the gain, the bass, the treble. It's just wonderful. I love the app. But on the front of the EV, by the way, it could be turned off if you don't want it, is a clip light. So from 30 feet away, if the speaker is starting to clip, I'll see it. It's like a little lightning bolt. It's very bright, and you can see it from a great distance. I believe this is the only speaker that has it. I know the Bose S1 Pro has a clip light on the side. JBL has their clip light on their app, but nothing visible from the front. So I think that's a great feature. So what is all this stuff on the table here? Well, let's talk about it. Some people like myself want it all. Yeah, just like Queen. No, I'm not going to sing that song for you. But anyway, you can basically make this older speaker from 2009 into a similar performing speaker as the latest technology, the Everse 8. So let's see what you need. So it doesn't have internal battery. So right there in the back, I have my trusty Grant Maya, 300 watts for $180 on Amazon. Runs the CP8 for many, many hours with no issue. And again, from other videos, you're paying a lot of money for internal battery and a certain amount of weight too. But this thing is really great. But I wouldn't run big subwoofers on a small battery. You need something larger. Then you need a mixer because, like I mentioned, doesn't have reverb, doesn't have much EQ. So this is one of my favorite mixers, very popular. It's been around for a number of years, and it's called the Yamaha MG06X. It has your reverb, it has everything there, and it gives you a nice boost in gain. If you have a Bose S1 Pro, this is the mixer you need to solve the gain issues, really boost it. But this cost $170. I believe I bought it for $130. Things have gone up. Talking about going up or down in this case, so I want Bluetooth also, so I bought a Bose Bluetooth adapter that they don't make anymore, so don't look for it. and that was $100. And today I looked it up on Amazon, and they're down to something similar, much smaller, is 15 bucks. So sometimes technology really can save you. Other things go up in value. So you would need all these pieces to equal the Everse 8 ability. So let me do the math for you. Yamaha 170 mixer, Bluetooth adapter, $15. That's the least expensive. They can go up to 80 or so on Amazon. Grand Maya, $180, 300 watt power source. Add them up, $365. Added to the QSC CP8, $500. That's $865 for all these pieces. So when you start looking at this, if you really need these bells and whistles, as they call them, now it's more expensive than the $750 Everse 8 and everything in one little box. And of course, giggy musicians, the biggest fear is you forget something, you lose something, or something's stolen. You know, someone stole my power source and I'm playing a beach party. Now what? So technology is wonderful that they are able to squeeze everything into that Everse 8 17-pound box. Pretty incredible. Here's a feature that the QSC doesn't have. The EV has something called a tilt back position, and it adjusts the EQ automatically. So this is a nice feature, playing on the floor, busking maybe. I believe EV got this idea from Bose. The S1 Pro has the same feature. So I think they picked it up. I guess it wasn't a patented feature. Another thing I want to mention, talk about Bose S1 Pro, they just dropped the price. JBL has dropped the price since the high prices of the pandemic and the parts shortage, but EV is selling strong. They're not budging from that $750 price range. So it's a very popular speaker right now. You might want to check out, if you're a musician, the acoustic guitar forum. Many giggy musicians are using this, battery operated, for acoustic guitar vocals, and they're really pleased. Some of them are actually saying it's taking their place of the larger, more expensive EV30. So check out that website. Talking about gigging musicians, a very important factor, I know it is for me, and that is warranty. The QSC has a 6-year warranty. I'm sure the EV, I haven't looked it up, but I'm sure it's your standard 1 year or a couple more years on parts. But that 6-year warranty can't be beat. If you are a QSC owner or future owner, make sure you register online to get that extra 6th year. I think without registering, you get 5 years only. Another thing about QSC is some people are saying, hey, how come they haven't put out a battery speaker? How come they haven't put out a column speaker? And I believe QSC is doing this on purpose. They have a reputation, and well earned, to be a pro series speaker, and I guess they don't want to go down into that other market of what they call it, prosumer or consumer. I don't know what they call it, but anyway, it's a lower line than pro speakers are considered. A plus for both speakers is the fact that they don't have a fan, so there's no fan noise. Some people might be under the impression the QSC has a fan because they're higher level up. The next jump up, the K8.2, does have a fan, and I'm going to tell you right now, it is a little annoying. It could be heard at quiet interludes, but once the music cranks up, it disappears, but that's not a factor for the CP8. There is no fan. A unique feature of the EV that no other speaker at this time has, it comes with some kind of water rating. You can't drop it in a pool, but it does have a certain amount of protection. It comes with a plastic cover that covers the inputs, where you can still play Bluetooth and have it sealed up. So this speaker is considered to be, it won't be damaged if there's a light sprinkle. Of course, with the QSC, you better bring this umbrella. Both speakers can be used in the monitor position for a band situation. And one thing really good about the EV that I haven't taken advantage of at this time is wirelessly through Bluetooth, you can connect a second speaker. So that is really nice. Something obviously you can't do with the QSC because there is no Bluetooth and no app. And I was actually tempted recently, maybe a couple of weeks ago or a month ago, to get a second Everse 8, but I pushed that temptation aside. I just have too many speakers, too many different speakers for different applications. At this point, I really don't need a second, but it was a temptation. So, am I forgetting anything? Oh yeah, probably the most important thing, and that is the sound, the SQ, sound quality of these speakers. Well, you're probably wondering maybe why in my past videos I always usually do a sound demo. In this one, I'm skipping it, or I might do it in the future, but it might be pointless. These speakers are really, really very similar in their sound signature. So you just have to take my word for it. If you've watched my previous videos and you trust me as a reviewer, you can maybe buy one of these speakers on my recommendation. But they're both 8-inch speakers. They both have a very clean high end. I mean, QSC is known for their super clean high end, but EV is right there with it. EV has that excellent app where you can tweak it, you can adjust it to make it sound very similar. The two. QSC is just great right out of the box. There's nothing to do. It just has beautiful sound. So EV, you have to work a little more to get the sound you want, but as a gigging musician, again, certain rooms need certain EQ, and you have that ability. With the QSC, there's no EQ. So they both have really nice low end, but on the other hand, they both need, with a capital N, a subwoofer. And when you add a subwoofer, a small subwoofer, I'm thinking of a Bose Sub 1 or the EV ELX 12-inch sub, it really transforms either one of these speakers into full range, and it just sounds incredible. I put either one of these over a subwoofer up against any of the column arrays until you get to something like the Pro 32 $3,000 system. So the sound signature is really similar. Unless you were right next to them, A-Bing them, you're never going to know the difference. But especially for gigging live sound, you're not going to know the difference of these two sound. So I'm not going to spend too much time on that, and I don't think it's a buying decision. But I will say the EV has, with that app, you can tailor the sound, but it takes a little work. QSC, once again, plug and play, and it's great for especially for beginners. Some people on the EV are complaining. They get out of the box and they say, gee, it doesn't sound so special. Some of them have returned it, but others say when they spend the time with the EQ, they're very happy. I saved one of the major differences between these speakers for last, because for myself, it is very important, and that is SPL, Max Sound levels. I'm not going to do any max sound test that I've done on other videos. Again, you're going to have to just take my word as someone who's done quite a number of reviews already. So the Everse 8, even though it's rated at something like over 120 dBs, it doesn't get that kind of volume. It got, in real world testing, and I test in the home, of course it's even much more difficult outdoors, but in the home at about 3 or 4 meters away. And when you get the specs from the companies, they test at 1 meter in a special chamber, soundproof chamber. So you'll never get those specs in real world. So in real world testing in the home with the EV, I topped out right before max volume, before clipping light. I got 102 dB. The QSC here got 110. Okay, so if you know anything about dB, and if you don't, let me give you a little education. When I add a second S1 Pro, it adds about 3 dB. Some people think, wow, I add a second speaker, it's going to make a huge difference. That's not really the case. It definitely doesn't add much bass when you add a second speaker. When you got up to 6 dB difference between speakers, then your ears perceive that as twice as loud. With measuring equipment, it's not actually twice as loud, but you feel it is. When you get to 10 dB, then using professional measuring equipment, it is twice as loud. So that's a huge thing in my book. By the way, I think I gave you the wrong figures. The QSC got up to 110, and the Everse 8 got 101. So we're talking about 9 dB difference. That, my friends, is huge. And as a drummer, a live drummer, I need every dB possible, especially like I mentioned, I do play outdoors sometimes, or if you're playing in a larger space, or if you play, it depends on what kind of music you play too. Some people might wonder, why do I have this CD out? Our Nirvana, so from the 90s. What's the song called? Smells Like Teen Spirit. So a song like that, once in a while I play, I want to crank that up to maximum volume. Now, I'm not saying the EV can't get loud, it does. But the QSC just that much headroom, it's almost twice as loud. Now here come the comments. People are gonna say, yeah, this is the apple and oranges part. Of course, the QSC is louder. It's AC only, it's always louder, and that's true. But people need to make their buying decision. Of course, if you need battery power, then of course you're going for the Everse. But if you're a giggy musician where most of the time AC is available, you need to be aware that this is almost twice as loud as the Everse. This is a powerful speaker. And for the viewers watching in Florida, I think I just got banned because I just put on YouTube a naked baby. I'm gonna pull a Steve Jobs. One more thing, I forgot the EV through that app, high-tech app, has firmware updates that you, again, with no app, the QSC will never give you. And firmware updates, I like to think of it as like the gift that keeps on giving. Look at Tesla, they can keep updating the computer in the car, and people are reporting that the car is like a different car after 3 years. You would expect the car to get worse when it gets older, but with the firmware updates, they're adding all kinds of features. And I know JBL, like I mentioned before, is aggressively pushing out new firmware updates. This is such a new speaker. I haven't seen any yet, but it has the potential for the future. So wrapping this video up, which one of these speakers in the arena wins that match? Is it the QSC, the classic speaker that has been out for many years, but they're not changing because it is so successful? Or is it the EV with the latest bells and whistles and it has everything packed in there that you can almost imagine? The only thing that people complain about is they wish it had a third channel, but I don't know what they want in a 17-pound speaker. So who gets the trophy? Well, going back to old versus new, I'm thinking of a Gibson Les Paul. You know, the 1957 Gibson Les Paul is worth thousands and thousands of dollars compared to a new one. Okay, I have a Ludwig 1968 Ringo drum set. I would not trade it for a 2023 Ludwig. So you can't go by how many years or how new something is. So to pick a winner, here we go. People always get angry at this part. I'm not picking a winner because here it is. This is apples to oranges. I like both. I'm keeping both of these speakers. If I need battery power, I take the EV. It's my favorite battery-powered portable PA right now. If you want my favorite battery-powered speaker at all, that's the JBL Mark II, but that's much larger and heavier. If I need power, I'm going for the QSC at that 9 dB difference, twice as loud. If you ask me which one personally would I choose if I had to have one, because I'm a giggy musician, I need volume. Most venues have AC. I rarely play outdoors for paying customers, so I need every dB available. I made a video called Not Enough Rig for the Gig. You might want to go back and check that out. But I do love both these speakers. I'm keeping both. And to me, they're both classics and they're the best out there. Okay, this is Bill. Hope you enjoyed. Tune in for the next one, or better yet, go back and watch some of the previous videos about these two speakers. I appreciate your comments, appreciate the subscribers, and I'd like to know which one you think is the best. Put the comments down below. Later.